Babes, if watching reality dating shows has taught us anything, it's that love is terrifying and, honestly, maybe staying single is actual self-care.
Oh, I mean, it is absolute emotional warfare out there. It's a battlefield. And we are just, the completely unqualified medics watching from the sidelines with our jaws literally on the floor.
We were just trying to diagnose the casualties of modern romance, babes. But Snark Squad, good morning, good day, good night, good whenever. And babes, happy weekend.
Happy weekend, everyone.
I hope you are cozy. If you are sitting there in your sweatpants right now, or if you are commuting and gripping the steering wheel of your car, I need you to mentally prepare yourself.
Seriously, take a deep breath.
Because today, we're going to track this entire theme of control versus absolute chaos in modern dating. We just spent 5 hours, like 5 continuous, unblinking hours, watching the season 4 drop of Perfect Match.
The first 5 hours of the season, yeah.
The first 5 hours. And I am completely unmoored. My brain is fried. My heart rate is elevated. And once again, babes, the Netflix gods are screaming from the heavens, telling you to stay single.
They are practically taking out a billboard in Times Square that says, "Do not date under any circumstances." It is a public service announcement, honestly, disguised as reality television.
It really is. I had a visceral reaction to almost every single interaction on that screen.
Yeah.
Like, why are TV relationships always so chaotic?
Well, what is so deeply fascinating here, and what we really need to investigate during this deep dive today, is how every single one of these shows starts with this incredibly sanitized premise, right?
Totally. Like, we are going to find you your soulmate.
Exactly. They tell you that, and then within 24 hours, it morphs into a psychological thriller. It becomes a study in how human beings just scramble for power when they feel insecure.
Because in the real world, you go on a date, you get a coffee, you talk about your dog, and maybe you text 3 days later. On reality TV, it's like day 1, hour 12, and someone is sobbing in a cabana because a man they met over breakfast looked at another woman's kneecap.
Right, but if we look at the underlying mechanisms, it is entirely by design. I mean, it's the casting algorithm. You are not casting well-adjusted people who have done years of therapy, right?
Obviously not.
You are definitely not casting people who have secure attachment styles and possess a deep well of internal validation.
No, you are casting people who want Instagram followers.
You are casting people whose primary coping mechanism for emotional discomfort is to seek external validation on international television. And logically, we have to ask, can true love even exist in a villa where you are financially and socially incentivized to swap partners?
Literally just to guarantee more screen time. The fundamental architecture of Perfect Match is that if you don't match, you go home.
You lose your airtime, you lose your brand deals. It is a survival game masked as a dating show.
It's the Hunger Games, but with, like, lip gloss, terrible communication skills, and matching athleisure. And the worst part is I eat it up every single time.
Oh, we devour it.
It just makes me profoundly grateful to be sitting exactly where I am right now, far away from a tropical villa, completely out of the line of fire. And speaking of the safety of our own living rooms, babes, we need to give a massive shout out to Cutwater.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the drinks they make.
Unbelievable.
Truly elite. They're doing the Lord's work for our weekend reality TV binges.
I'm currently sitting here sipping the Cutwater vodka mule, and you have the lemon drop martini on deck tonight, right?
I do, and it is hitting the spot perfectly.
The ginger kick in this mule. It is literally saving my life right now. It is genuinely waking me up from the delusion I just witnessed on screen. It is crisp, it's cold, and babes, these are amazing. Cheers.
Cheers to that. And you know what I find incredibly compelling about canned cocktails, and specifically the Cutwater line, is how dangerous they are.
Wait, dangerous how? Like, too easy to drink. Yes. Dangerous in the best way possible. They completely eliminate the friction of preparation. You open a lemon drop martini, it's perfectly balanced. The sweet, the tart, you aren't measuring simple syrup.
You aren't shaking ice, you are just pouring, sipping, and immediately passing judgment on other people's catastrophic life choices.
Exactly. Weekend drinks just hit entirely differently when you are judging reality TV. You take a sip, you watch a 25-year-old influencer make the single worst decision of their entire adult life, and you just feel this wave of unearned superiority wash over you.
It is the ultimate weekend pairing, honestly. I feel so superior right now.
It really is the pinnacle of the viewing experience. But before we get entirely lost in analyzing the Netflix sauce, we need to address the elephant in the room regarding tomorrow.
Oh, no, please don't.
Because tomorrow after work, babes, you are doing something very, very out of character. You are going to a sound bath.
Oh my God, I am already panicking. I am having a full existential crisis about the sound bath. Why did I agree to this? What even is a sound bath?
I mean, you booked it.
Am I just paying $80 to lie on a germy yoga mat in a strip mall while a man in loose linen pants hits a gong near my face?
Analytically speaking, yes, that is precisely what you are paying for. You are paying for acoustic resonance.
That sounds like a scam.
Well, a sound bath is a meditative practice where you are bathed in sound waves produced by various instruments like healing bowls, gongs, and chimes.
Okay, but does it actually do anything?
The theory is that the frequencies, particularly the 432 hertz frequency, can help regulate your nervous system and shift your brain from a state of anxious beta waves into relaxed alpha or theta waves.
I have so many anxious beta waves right now.
Right, but the real question this raises for me is, are you finally entering your soft girl era? Because you have been talking nonstop about inner peace, healing, and setting boundaries, and now you are actively seeking out vibrational frequencies to fix you.
Honestly, babes, between the sound baths and the deep dive research I've been doing into possible camping trips, which I would never actually go on, let's be real, this is not a soft girl era.
No. Then what is it?
This is a delusion era. I am actively cosplaying as a woman who has her life completely together. I am pretending I am centered, but I am one minor inconvenience away from reverting to a completely feral state.
That is extremely self-aware.
A gong is not going to fix the fact that I still subconsciously check my ex's astrological transits when Mercury is in retrograde.
Okay, well, admitting you are in a delusion era is actually the first step toward true healing. But let's bring it back to reality for a moment, because before you get your chakras forcibly aligned by a stranger with a mallet, we both have to survive our upcoming workday.
Oh, don't remind me. Our dental offices are war zones.
We have to discuss the highs and lows of the dental field.
Don't even get me started on the lows.
Yeah.
My coworker drama right now is so deeply messy, it could legitimately be its own streaming series.
Is this about the suction tips again?
Yes. We have a hygienist who is actively engaged in a psychological cold war over the premium suction tips. She comes in early, hoards them in the back of her top drawer beneath the patient bibs, and acts like she has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about when the supply runs low.
It is petty, it is unhinged, and I know you are entirely invested in destroying her monopoly.
I am analyzing her every move. I am tracking her drawer habits.
It's the microaggressions of the medical field.
Yeah.
It is a battle for control in a sterile environment. But I see your suction tip drama, and I raise you a highly chaotic patient scenario.
Oh no, what do you have tomorrow?
I have a patient coming in tomorrow who possesses a terrifying lack of situational awareness. They refuse to stop talking while I have my hands physically inside their mouth.
How is that even physically possible?
I don't know. I will have a high-speed drill, a mirror, and a terrifying amount of gauze packed into their cheek, and they are trying to aggressively tell me about their neighbor's municipal zoning dispute over a chain-link fence.
Oh my God, they are risking their own tongue for neighborhood gossip.
I have to play a high-stakes game of linguistic charades, nodding and grunting, while actively trying not to accidentally hit a nerve.
It's warfare. Your job is warfare, my job is warfare. But you know what the ultimate betrayal of our week is?
I already know what you're going to say.
Because, babes, your mom literally texted both of us, inviting us over after work tomorrow to help pull weeds.
Oh, I know. The audacity of the text message. I felt the vibration in my pocket, and I just knew it was a threat.
I am panicking harder about the yard work than I am about the sound bath. Pulling weeds. Do I look like an agricultural specialist to her?
You do wear a lot of floral prints.
This feels deeply, deeply offensive to my soft girl delusions.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be vibrating at a higher frequency on a mat, not on my hands and knees in the damp dirt, physically fighting a dandelion.
I know. I feel personally victimized by this request.
Neither of us were built for manual yard work. Our upper body strength is entirely theoretical.
Exactly. But what is truly fascinating here is the generational entitlement. Parents always, without fail, assume that free millennial labor is just available on demand.
Always, like we have nothing better to do.
There is this inherent boomer logic that because we sit in air-conditioned offices all day staring at screens or teeth, our bodies are somehow primed and ready for intense agricultural labor at 6 p.m. on a Saturday.
It's so delusional.
She literally texted me, Bring garden gloves. It's going to be a fun workout. Weeding is not a fun workout. It is an assault on my lower back and a direct threat to my lemon drop martini buzz.
It is unpaid manual labor. We're going to completely ruin our manicures. We're going to pull muscles we didn't even know we had. And for what? A slightly clearer, mulched area next to a bird bath.
Pretty much, yeah.
I can't. I simply cannot. But you know what else I can't handle? Because watching all this messy TV love over the last 5 hours has completely triggered my annual relationship spirals.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
So now, babes, I have a confession. I am seriously considering going to a speed dating event in 2 weeks.
Okay, let's stop and analyze this carefully. Is this a terrible idea? Statistically speaking, yes, absolutely.
Don't ruin this for me.
Speed dating is essentially swiping right in real life. But you cannot close the app when someone starts talking aggressively about their cryptocurrency portfolio or their mother's cooking. You are physically trapped at a high top table.
That is a terrifying visual.
But I have to ask, between the two of us, knowing our psychological profiles, who do you honestly think would fall in love first in that highly pressurized environment?
Oh, me. 100% me. I wouldn't even last 3 tables.
Yeah.
I would sit down, a guy would make semi-decent eye contact, tell me he likes golden retrievers, and I would already be mentally picking out the subway tile backsplash for our future kitchen.
You are a tragic victim of your own romantic delusions.
I really am, and my anxiety would ruin it anyway. What would my opening line even be? Hi, I'm emotionally reactive, I love cutwater cocktails, and I cry when I'm tired. Do you have any unresolved childhood trauma I can aggressively try to fix in the next 3 minutes?
That is exactly why you need to cancel your RSVP immediately. If I went, I wouldn't treat it like a date. I would treat it like a hostile interrogation.
Oh, I know you would. You would make them sweat.
If we are going to do this, let's list the absolute worst possible speed dating questions you could ask just to mentally prepare you for the nightmare.
Okay, lay it on me.
Question 1. What is your exact relationship with your mother? And how many years of therapy did it take for you to realize her emotional enmeshment was toxic?
Oh my God, you would make grown men openly weep at a bar. That is lethal.
It filters out the weak. What's your worst question?
Okay, my worst question would be, if I took your phone right now and unlocked it, how many unsaved numbers are you actively texting at 11 p.m. on a Thursday?
That is terrifyingly direct. Okay, question 3. Please explain to me your personal concept of weaponized incompetence using a common household chore like loading the dishwasher.
I'm sweating. Just hearing you say that makes me want to apologize for things I haven't even done.
Yeah.
This is my impending speed dating doom.
That's a bleak landscape out there.
It is. And honestly, this absolute disaster of a dating strategy, this frantic energy of trying to assert your value in 3 minutes or less, connects perfectly to the absolute disaster we just witnessed on Netflix.
It really is the exact same desperate energy.
Let's get into this recap. We are moving logically from the anxiety of a hypothetical date to the frantic, televised desperation of the perfect match arrivals. I have so many thoughts, I have so many feelings, and I need to verbally process them with you right now.
Let's unpack it all. We are looking at the initial phase of the show, the arrivals of the supposedly elite singles, and how they immediately begin maneuvering for power and screen time in episodes 1 and 2.
Okay, so the setup. Nick Lachey steps out into the tropical humidity in his little host outfit, and he welcomes 10 men and 10 women to this massive, gorgeous villa, and he looks dead into the camera lens and boldly claims that these are the most desirable singles in the world.
Are they, though? I mean, are they really the most empirically desirable singles on the entire planet?
Honestly, it's a stretch.
Because if we look at the reality of this cast roster, it tells a very different story. We have people from Love is Blind, which makes contextual sense, but we also have people pulled from Squid Game, The Challenge, and Building the Band.
It's so random.
When I think of peak romantic desirability, my very first thought isn't necessarily someone who just spent 3 grueling weeks eating cold porridge and trying not to get eliminated by a robotic doll during a life or death game of red light, green light.
Right, like you survived a giant animatronic child shooting actual lasers at you, and now your immediate pivot is, I want to find a husband in a cabana. The genre whiplash is giving me a migraine.
It makes absolutely zero thematic sense.
But let's break down these men. Because, wow, first of all, Jimmy P from Love is Blind shows up. And I was completely thrown. He has a brand new, incredibly fresh hair transplant.
Oh, the hairline was front and center.
His hairline is sitting lower than it ever has.
Oh.
He is walking around the beach, actively calling himself Uncle Jim, and casually bringing his EpiPen to social mixers.
The rebrand is genuinely worthy of a university sociology course. Jimmy P is a fascinating case study in the post-reality TV PR image rehabilitation playbook.
Right, break that down.
Well, he got completely mercilessly dragged on social media during his season of Love is Blind. The public turned against him. So what does he do? He goes out, he buys a new hairline to boost his physical confidence, but more importantly, he completely rebrands his personality.
The whole Uncle Jim thing.
Exactly. He adopts this self-deprecating, non-threatening persona of the funny guy Uncle Jim, and leaning into the medical fragility of openly discussing his peanut allergy and carrying an EpiPen.
Is that a strategy?
It's a highly calculated strategy to signal, look at me, I'm just a goofy, vulnerable, normal guy. Please don't cancel me again. It is a masterclass in preemptive defense.
It is so calculated. I didn't even think about the EpiPen as a prop for vulnerability, but you are so right. It's like a shield against criticism.
Precisely.
But if we want to talk about deeply unsettling introductions, the real standout, for all the worst reasons imaginable, was Nick from $1 Million Secret.
Ah, yes. A moment that will live in infamy.
I literally had to pause the TV. I had to pause the television, put my drink down, and walk a lap around my living room to regulate my breathing.
It was physically hard to watch.
Nick looks directly at the camera and introduces himself with this wildly chaotic, incredibly graphic line. He literally says, I'm going to use my charisma, my blue eyes, my small fic, and we're going to be fine.
I gasped.
Who says that? Who clears that specific line with themselves in the mirror before walking onto an international broadcast set?
It is the ultimate manifestation of the paradox of self-deprecation. He is trying so incredibly hard to appear unbothered and confident that he has looped completely back around to signaling deep, unresolvable insecurity.
Because he thinks getting ahead of the joke saves him.
Yes. He thinks leading with a shocking, self-deprecating joke about his own anatomy makes him bulletproof to external criticism. He believes he is controlling the narrative by saying the worst possible thing about himself first.
It is not a charming icebreaker.
He thinks it is, but he lacks any subsequent charm to back it up, because he then follows up this introduction by aggressively pouring beer down women's throats at the evening mixer.
So gross.
And then entirely accidentally falling asleep in his bed while playing FIFA on a console when he was supposed to be hosting a woman in his room. He is a walking anthropological study of frat house arrested development.
He is a walking, breathing ick. He is the physical embodiment of a read receipt left on a liver. And then, as if that wasn't enough, we have Chris from Age of Attraction.
Oh, Chris.
He literally introduces himself to the camera and admits out loud, with zero shame, that he's a love bomber. He knows the clinical psychological term. He uses the term to describe his own dating strategy.
And we cannot forget Dear Falshari from Too Hot to Handle. He walks into the villa, and his entire strategy relies completely on his physical stats.
Just naming his height and weight.
He announces he is 6'5", 240 pounds, and explicitly claims that women just naturally throw themselves at him now because of his previous television exposure.
So arrogant.
It's this profound, hollow arrogance where his entire personality, his entire value proposition as a human being, is just his vertical height and his reality TV pedigree. He offers zero emotional depth.
The men are an absolute mess, just a parade of red flags and coping mechanisms. But the women, I was having so many intense emotional reactions to how they operated.
They were playing a very intense game.
First of all, Marissa from Love is Blind. She is absolutely stunning, incredibly gorgeous, and obviously smart. But the very second she steps foot into the villa and identifies a target, she becomes terrifyingly possessive.
It was immediate.
It was like watching a lioness stalk and mark an antelope on the Discovery Channel.
The territoriality was off the charts. She didn't just claim her territory. She metaphorically built a 10-foot fence, installed barbed wire, and set up motion sensor security cameras.
She locked it down.
Then we have Ally from Vanderpump Rules, who brings this deeply manic, astrological, wildly quirky energy that feels entirely ungrounded.
Oh, the astrology talk.
And Mackenzie from Squid Game, who came in so hot by shading 455 other human beings.
Wait, I forgot about that.
She literally stated on camera that there was no one hot on her entire show. She blanket insulted hundreds of people who were sleeping on bunk beds in a warehouse just to assert her own aesthetic dominance.
The sheer confidence of that insult.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that first mixer, because the red flags weren't just flying, they were actively hitting me in the face. Marissa immediately claims Deary out of the crowd.
Which sets the tone for the entire evening.
They sit down to play this innocent little icebreaker card game, and she intentionally places her card on the prompt, "Whisper to me." So Deary leans in, supposedly to whisper a secret, and instead of whispering, they just aggressively, passionately make out.
In front of everyone.
On night 1, hour 2, in front of the entire cast.
What's fascinating here from a psychological standpoint is that Marissa is treating a notoriously chaotic, hookup-centric reality show like it is a marriage arrangement on day 1.
She was ready for a ring.
She has completely bypassed the necessary dating and vetting phase and entered a psychological state of matrimony with a man she met 45 minutes ago. It is an intense overinvestment to secure safety in an insecure environment.
She just wanted to be safe from elimination.
But she wasn't the only one moving at an unnatural warp speed. We have to dissect the interaction between Chris and Mackenzie.
Oh my God, Chris. This was the moment that truly broke my brain. Night 1. He manages to get Mackenzie back to his room for a private chat, and out of absolutely nowhere, he tries to give her a $4,000 Louis Vuitton wallet.
Just casually handing over luxury goods.
A pristine, free LV designer wallet. And Mackenzie looks at it and refuses it. She literally pushes it back and says she would feel like a hoe bag if she accepted a gift like that from a stranger.
Let's really break down the socioeconomic signaling and the psychology of a man who does this. Chris leads with his wallet because, whether subconsciously or consciously, he believes he has absolutely no genuine personality or emotional depth to offer a partner.
So he just tries to buy them.
If you are handing a virtual stranger a $4,000 designer item on day 1, it is not an act of kindness, it is a calculated transaction. You are attempting to buy their loyalty because you do not trust your own charisma, intelligence, or humor to keep them interested.
Wow, when you put it like that.
It is textbook financial manipulation under the guise of excessive generosity. It's the hyper-investment strategy of modern dating. And Mackenzie refusing it was brilliant because accepting a gift of that magnitude immediately creates a deeply unbalanced power dynamic.
Okay, I hear the psychology. I respect the deep sociological analysis of the hyper-investment theory. But I have to push back because I need you to be completely honest with me.
Okay, what is it?
Would you turn down a free, authentic LV wallet? If a man slid that across the table to you right now, because I'm sitting here in my $20 sweatpants thinking a $4,000 wallet is a $4,000 wallet.
You would take it.
I can take the luxury leather goods tonight, say thank you, and still ethically dump him tomorrow morning. Does the modern dating economy mean we just accept the transactional nature of it?
See, this is exactly where your delusion era thrives. You think you can outsmart the psychological trap, but realistically, human nature doesn't work that way.
Why not? I could just walk away with a nice accessory.
Accepting a gift of that financial weight triggers the reciprocity principle. Even if you plan to dump him, taking the wallet makes you feel subconsciously indebted. Chris knows this.
The guilt trip.
If she took it, he would instantly feel entitled to her time, her physical affection, and her loyalty in the matching process. Mackenzie was incredibly smart to reject it because she maintained her autonomy.
Okay, fine. Logically, you're right. But my inner material girl is absolutely weeping at the lost opportunity. So
Yeah.
the initial matches are formed after all this chaos.
And the pairings are bizarre.
Jimmy P pairs up with Ally, which is wild because she is just giving pure manic, I'm going to read your birth chart while you sleep and judge your moon sign energy. And he is trying to be the chill Uncle Jim.
It is a terrible, energetic match.
Nick pairs with Natalie, who possesses the most incredible, unbothered poker face I've ever seen on television. And Yaman pairs with Allison.
And we must pause to highlight the deeply uncomfortable anecdote of Yaman and Allison's first real conversation. Yaman sits down next to Allison, looks her up and down, and tells her she has a little bit of drip.
A little bit of drip. It sounds like a medical condition.
Really?
Like she needs a prescription for penicillin. If a man looked at me and said, "Babes, you have a little bit of drip," I would immediately ask for the nearest urgent care clinic.
Exactly. The slang completely fails the moment. He gives her this bizarre, backhanded compliment about her style, and then immediately completely ignores her presence to launch into an uninterrupted monologue about how modern people need to have higher standards in life.
While ignoring the woman right next to him.
He is actively lecturing her about high standards while simultaneously giving her zero eye contact or conversational space. It was a masterclass in conversational narcissism and a total lack of self-awareness.
This is so bad.
But if we look at how the producers structure this game, night 1, couples are never safe. The producers lull them into a false sense of security, and then they completely pull the rug out.
Yes, which brings us to the next phase of the chaos, the bombshells, and the tale of two Jimmys in episodes 2 and 3.
The boardroom twist.
This twist. This is where the game theory kicks in. Nick Lachey comes into the villa and explains the new terrifying rule. The couples who win the compatibility challenge get the power to pick 3 outside singles to bring into the house.
Right.
But, and this is the chaotic genius part, the new singles get the ultimate power to pick who they want to take on a date. The power dynamic is completely violently flipped.
I genuinely love this analytic chaos. It takes the locus of control away from the established, comfortable couples and hands it entirely to the wildcard entries.
They're shaking in their boots.
It forces the people who thought they were safe in the house to actually defend their relationships instead of just coasting to the finale. It injects immediate instability.
So they go to the boardroom, they make their picks, and they bring in the new arrivals. Yeah. First through the doors is Kayla from Too Hot to Handle.
A very strong entrance.
And I was shocked because she literally walks through the door, and the very first thing she does is brag loudly to the group about her new pair of tits. She announces she upgraded to a double D.
She knew exactly what she was doing.
And Chris, our LV wallet love bomber, who is supposedly obsessed with Mackenzie, he instantly forgets Mackenzie even exists on this earthly plane. His jaw hits the floor. He is practically drooling.
It was a stunning display of a lack of object permanence in adult dating.
Object permanence, like a baby.
Yes. In developmental psychology, object permanence is the understanding that objects continue to exist even when they cannot be seen. In modern dating, it refers to people who completely forget their current partner the second a shiny new object enters their field of vision.
Wow. That's exactly what happened.
The second Kayla walked in, Mackenzie evaporated from his cognitive map. Then, following Kayla, we have Dave from Married at First Sight, Australia.
Oh, Dave.
Yes,
Let's talk about Dave. I am about to make a deeply embarrassing confession to you right now, babes.
I am bracing myself.
Dave is 37 years old. He is a 6'6" giant of a man. He is completely covered, neck to ankles, in aggressive tattoos, and I am weirdly, intensely attracted to him.
Really?
I am questioning everything about my own psychology. Why am I attracted to this giant, tattooed Australian man who looks like he could throw a car?
It's not that surprising when you break it down. You are attracted to him because he perfectly embodies the paradox of the gentle giant.
The gentle giant.
Visually, he looks incredibly intimidating and masculine, but his actual energy is incredibly unserious, playful, and non-threatening. It short-circuits the brain in a very specific way.
It totally short-circuited my brain, I'll admit it.
And joining him in the villa is Jimmy S., a content creator who completely unironically refers to himself as Mr. Take Your Girl.
Which immediately kicks off the most hilarious, pathetic, fragile masculinity war with Jimmy P.
The Battle of the Jimmys.
Jimmy P., our EpiPen Uncle Jim, absolutely refuses to share a first name. He gets so defensive, he's like, I am the only Jimmy here. I was here first.
It was so deeply insecure.
He tries to assert territorial dominance, but Jimmy S. just completely bulldozes right over him, laughs in his face, and starts calling him Jimbo.
It was a beautiful, raw display of primate social behavior. Jimmy P. is trying to establish hierarchical dominance over something as arbitrary as a first name.
And he loses immediately.
And Jimmy S. neutralizes his entire strategies simply by giving him a goofy, emasculating nickname. Jimbo instantly strips Jimmy P. of any cool factor or authority he was trying to project.
It was flawless execution.
But while the two Jimmys are fighting over a noun, Dave is conducting a hostile takeover of the villa's lips.
I was screaming at the television. Dave comes in and just goes on a relentless makeout tour. He kisses Ally, then he walks 10 feet over and kisses Natalie, then he walks to the bar and kisses Mackenzie.
It was a very busy afternoon for him.
Back to back to back. What is happening? Who operates with that kind of velocity?
This raises a fascinating analytical question. Is Dave a walking, breathing red flag, or is he just executing the game theory of the show flawlessly?
I mean, he's a red flag.
You look at his constraints. He has an incredibly limited amount of time to secure a match or he gets sent home. By kissing multiple women in rapid succession, he is simultaneously testing physical chemistry, asserting his undeniable presence in the house, and gathering data.
It is so messy, though.
It looks chaotic and messy, but from a purely strategic game theory perspective, it is highly efficient behavior.
It's efficient, sure, but it's so incredibly messy. So the dates finally happen. Chris goes out with Kayla, the new arrival, and he love bombs her immediately.
Naturally.
He's practically planning their wedding venue by the time the appetizers arrive. And Dave goes on this incredibly awkward, bizarre date with Mackenzie. He literally spends 5 minutes talking to her about how somewhere out in the world, random elephants are just existing.
The elephant monologue. It was profound in its absolute emptiness.
She looks so confused.
He is trying so hard to appear deep, philosophical, and quirky, but he's just stating absolute basic facts about terrestrial zoology. He's saying, wow, elephants exist. Mackenzie looked like she was mentally trying to calculate the tip on a bad restaurant bill so she could leave.
He was excruciating to watch. But then, the producers drop an elimination shock. Nick Pellecchia gathers the entire house in the living room and tells them they have to collectively vote out the least genuine couple.
Like, brilliant producer move.
And the house ruthlessly books Chris and Kayla. I was genuinely shocked. Kayla just got there. And Chris was actually seemingly obsessed with her.
Yeah.
How are they the least genuine?
If we look closely at the in-group, out-group dynamics of the house, this vote had absolutely nothing to do with authenticity. It was purely a strategic, petty survival vote.
So they just lied.
The house watched Chris and Kayla form a very strong, instant physical connection. They didn't vote them out because they were least genuine. They voted them out to eliminate a strong competitive threat.
That makes so much sense.
It wasn't a democratic vote. It was a mafia hit, coordinated by people trying to protect their own fragile pairing.
It's savage. Absolutely savage reality TV politics. But just as the house thought they had secured their safety by eliminating the strong couple, the next challenge winners drop a nuclear bomb on the villa dynamics.
Which brings us to the trivia, the X's, and the sabotage in episode 4.
Yes. Deary and Marissa win the Fact or Splash trivia challenge, which gives them the power in the boardroom.
Okay, before we even touch the boardroom decisions, we have to talk about this trivia challenge. The facts we learned about these cast members.
Unbelievable.
I was dying laughing, but also deeply concerned. We learned Jimmy P is terrified of clowns, which, fair. Clowns are objectively unsettling.
Very fair.
But then we learned Marissa once threw up giving a guy a BJ. Chris lost his virginity to a 48-year-old reality star when he was 18 years old. And Natalie nonchalantly admits she had a fivesome.
The 48-year-old reality star fact is deeply, deeply concerning.
Honestly, we do not have nearly enough time to unpack the complex ethics and power dynamics of that massive age gap. But it certainly goes a long way in explaining Chris's deep-seated psychological need to overperform in relationships through financial love bombing.
Totally.
What stood out to you in that trivia game, though? What made you react?
Honestly, it made me think about our own weird, irrational phobias. Like, Jimmy P hates clowns. I have a deeply irrational, paralyzing fear of pool drains.
Wait, pool drains?
You know, those giant graded drains at the very bottom of the deep end in public pools? If I swim anywhere near one, my brain is utterly convinced it is going to suck out my soul and trap me underwater. It terrifies me.
Phobias are fascinating. I cannot handle the texture of wet paper.
Wet paper.
If a napkin falls into a sink and gets soggy, I will literally leave the room. My brain rejects it entirely.
But returning to the narrative structure of the show, this is where the producers really earned their paychecks.
Oh, big time. Deary and Marissa walk into the boardroom. They look at the digital board of potential singles they can bring into the house, and whose face pops up? Bri. Deary's gorgeous, stunning ex-girlfriend from Too Hot to Handle.
The sheer panic in Deary's eyes. It was cinematic. Marissa is standing there trying so hard to project this cool, secure, girl's girl energy.
She was trying so hard to play it cool.
She's looking at the board like, yeah, let's bring her in. She's beautiful. I'm not threatened. And Deary completely shorts out. His brain stops working. He is visibly sweating.
He was in acute distress.
He stammers and says, absolutely not. Under no circumstances can she come in.
What's fascinating here is analyzing the root of Deary's visceral fear. He isn't worried that he's still secretly in love with Bri and will be tempted. That's not it at all.
Then what is it?
He knows exactly how poorly he treated her in the past, and he knows that Bri is a witness. In psychology, we fear the witness, the person who knows the unedited, unpolished version of ourselves.
Oh, wow, the witness. That makes so much sense.
He is terrified that if she enters the house, she will expose his bad behavior on camera and completely destroy the narrative he is trying to build for the audience. He is protecting his brand.
So he just shuts it down completely.
So he forcefully vetoes her, and they bring in Cassie, Sophie, and Catherine instead.
Which leads to the ultimate scramble in the villa. Jimbo hits it off immediately with the new girl, Cassie, and Ally, our manic Astro queen who thought she was safe, completely loses her grip on reality.
She's fully spiraled.
She scrambles, she physically hides behind plants to eavesdrop on their conversation, and then she frantically corners Jimmy P in the hallway and awkwardly, desperately blurts out, "I love you," just to secure her spot in the house.
It was so hard to watch.
I was watching through my fingers. Stand up, babes. Do not beg Jimbo for a bed. The secondhand embarrassment was lethal.
It wasn't a romantic confession, it was a hostage negotiation. She used the phrase, "I love you," as a psychological barricade to keep Cassie out of her
It
territory.
was so transparent.
Meanwhile, we have Jimmy S., who is juggling Catherine, Allison, and Mackenzie all at once. He eventually chooses Allison to match with, and in his attempt to be poetic, he refers to her as his bricks and soil.
Cringe. Major. Physical cringe. What does that even mean? Is that a compliment?
It was a terrible analogy.
Am I supposed to feel swept off my feet and romanticized because a man compared my essence to heavy landscaping materials from Home Depot?
It is the absolute failure of metaphor. He's attempting to call her his foundation, his grounding force, but his vocabulary completely failed him. It was incredibly clumsy.
Unbelievably clumsy.
But contrasting that, we have Dave, who matches with the new girl, Sophie, and Sophie literally sits across from Dave, looks him dead in the eye, and calls him a walking red flag to his face.
I loved that.
But instead of getting defensive, they spend the entire date laughing hysterically. Two unserious people actually make the most logical sense together in this environment. They aren't pretending this is a Shakespearean romance. They are just having fun and acknowledging the absurdity of it all.
I actually really loved them together. They felt the most authentic because they were honest about being terrible. But then things get incredibly dark because Marissa experiences a major, highly visible emotional trigger.
The RSD conversation?
Deary is sitting with her, trying to be sweet and reassuring, and he tells Marissa, "You make me feel the best I can be." And Marissa totally flips a switch. She gets so incredibly angry, crying, and feeling like he only likes what she does for him, not who she actually is.
Right.
And she explicitly, clinically brings up her rejection-sensitive dysphoria, or RSD.
This is an incredibly complex psychological moment that requires careful breakdown. RSD isn't just getting your feelings hurt easily, it is a neurobiological response, often linked to ADHD, where perceived rejection or criticism causes actual, overwhelming emotional pain.
So she was legitimately hurting.
Her brain is setting off a massive fire alarm over a poorly phrased compliment. She feels objectified not sexually, but emotionally. She feels like an appliance that merely generates good feelings for him to consume.
And I have to say, I had a massive emotional reaction to this scene. I have to defend Marissa here, even if her delivery was intense.
Okay, let's hear the defense.
Women are so profoundly tired of being treated as men's emotional support animals. We're exhausted by men who only love us for the peace, stability, and care we provide them, while they simultaneously bring absolute chaos into our lives.
That is a very fair point about emotional labor.
She wanted him to list specific things he loved about her unique personality, her humor, her intellect. And instead, he basically said, "I love how comfortable I feel when you do all the emotional labor for me."
I understand your defense of her, and the critique of emotional labor is completely valid. But I am going to push back on her specific reaction in this exact context.
You don't think he was in the wrong?
We have to look at his actual intent versus her outsized reaction. He was genuinely, earnestly trying to give her a compliment to make her feel secure. Was it poorly worded? Yes, absolutely. Men are notoriously terrible at articulating nuanced emotional appreciation.
That's for sure.
But this raises an important question about control. Is she truly deeply offended by the phrasing of the compliment, or is she subconsciously looking for a reason to self-sabotage because she knows Bri the X is out there somewhere?
Oh, wait.
Her RSD flared up the exact moment she felt her control over the situation slipping. It's easier to burn the house down yourself than wait for someone else to strike the match.
Ooh, that is such a hot take. But it honestly tracks with everything we've seen because she was entirely unmoored. And her insecurity was perfectly timed by the universe because episode 5 ends with Nick Lachey returning to send them all into the most toxic, volatile environment mathematically possible.
Yes. Moving into the final section of our analysis, the messy mixer and the ultimate betrayal.
The mixer.
It is day 8. The producers, in a stroke of evil genius, decide to split the couples up entirely. The coupled men are sent to a secondary villa full of the single women, and the coupled women are sent to a villa full of the single men.
It is the ultimate recipe for relationship disaster. And right before they leave to get in the vans, Jimmy P., who literally just consummated his relationship with Ally the night before, sealing the deal, looks at Ally, smiles, and casually says, "No rules today."
It was so calculated.
I threw my phone. I literally yelled at my television screen.
Let's carefully dissect this deeply shady, highly manipulative behavior because it is textbook. What he is doing is deploying weaponized incompetence of fidelity.
He's a coward.
Exactly. He secured exactly what he wanted from her physically, and now he is proactively absolving himself of any guilt for what he plans to do at the mixer.
He's trapping her.
By casually throwing out the phrase "no rules," he is entirely shifting the cognitive load and the burden of boundary setting onto Ally. He is forcing her to either agree and be the cool girl, or disagree and look crazy and possessive. He wants a free pass to cheat without ever having the courage to actually ask for one.
He is a coward.
Yeah.
A literal verifiable clown. But the karma of the universe is swift, because over at the guys' mixer, the ghost of relationships past finally arrives.
Bri walks in.
Deary is standing there, and he comes face to face with Bri, his ex. And Deary, clearly trying to self-produce his own redemption storyline and play it cool for the Netflix cameras, walks up to her with his fake, charming smile and says, "We should hug."
He really thought he could just smooth it over.
And Bri just ruthlessly, coldly rejects him. She looks at him, tells him he acts totally different on TV than he does in real life, and completely shuts him down in front of everyone.
I stand up and applaud Bri standing on business. That is how you handle it. She completely shattered his carefully constructed reality TV facade.
She did not let him off the hook.
She looked at him and entirely refused to participate in his manufactured redemption arc. It was brilliant television and brilliant boundary setting. But what is truly fascinating to observe is that while the men were relatively subdued and awkward after that confrontation, the women's mixer was descending into absolute chaos.
The girls were wilding out. It was so much messier, so much more aggressive than the guys' mixer.
The energy was completely different.
The women sit down with the single men, including Weston, the rugged cowboy from Love Island. And they decide the best idea is to start playing a highly sexually charged game of truth or dare.
A terrible idea for anyone in a committed relationship.
And then we get the kiss heard round the world. Marissa is dared by the group to kiss whoever she would match with if Deary miraculously went home. She looks right at Weston the cowboy, and they don't just peck.
No, they do not.
They make out heavily, passionately, for an extended period of time.
It was not a polite, game-mandated peck on the lips. It was a prolonged, deeply intentional display of mutual physical attraction.
And I cheered. I was sitting on my couch, and I cheered for Marissa. She is finally playing the game. Deary has been giving her such weird, avoidant energy. He almost brought his stunning ex into the house, and Marissa finally got her revenge. She took her agency back. Good for her.
I hear your enthusiasm, and I understand the desire for vengeance in these dynamics. But if we connect this action back to our overarching theme of control, the hypocrisy is staggering.
Hypocrisy.
Marissa was crying, hyperventilating, and having a full RSD meltdown over Deary merely looking in the general direction of Catherine 2 days prior. She built a massive fortress of possessiveness and demanded total loyalty.
Well, yeah.
And now, the very second she is physically out of his sight and surrounded by single men, she is swallowing Weston's face. You cannot demand absolute monk-like devotion from your partner and then actively play tonsil hockey with a cowboy at a truth or dare game just because you are feeling insecure.
Okay, fine. The hypocrisy is incredibly thick. I will give you that.
Yeah.
But the drama is exquisite. And babes, that is exactly where Episode 5 cuts to black.
The worst place to leave it.
A massive, excruciating cliffhanger, leaving all 5 couples' fates completely up in the air. I am unwell. I am pacing my house. I need the next batch of episodes immediately so I can know what happens.
It's a masterful, highly manipulative cliffhanger designed to keep us hooked. But before we lose our minds waiting for the next drop to hit our accounts, we have to process all of this by moving into our specific segments.
Let's do it.
Segment 1, immediate red flag. We each have to look at the entire cast, choose the biggest walking red flag from this 5-hour episode drop, and rigorously debate why they are the most dangerous. I will go first. I nominate Jimmy P.
Oh, obviously. He is a walking hazard sign.
Specifically, I nominate him for his post-coital no-rules comment to Ally before the mixer. That single sentence is a neon sign of covert emotional manipulation.
It really is.
As we discussed, he secures the physical intimacy he desires and then immediately, unilaterally renegotiates the boundaries of the relationship to suit his sudden desire to mingle with other women. It is deeply cowardly.
He couldn't just have a real conversation.
He didn't have the respect to sit her down and say, I want to explore other options today. He casually said, no rules, forcing her into a psychological trap. It is insidious.
It is so toxic, and you are right about the cowardice, but I have to push back because I strongly nominate Chris because Chris literally stated out loud to a camera, "I'm a love bomber," and then tried to buy a woman's affection with a $4,000 designer purse on night 1.
The LV wallet incident.
He is trying to financially hostage a woman so she feels obligated to stay with him.
Okay, so this is the core debate. What is objectively worse in the modern dating landscape? The covert, weaponized incompetence and emotional cowardice of Jimmy P, or the overt, aggressive financial manipulation and hyperinvestment of Chris?
I firmly think Chris is worse, because at least Jimmy P showed his true cowardly colors eventually, giving Ally a chance to see it. Chris is wrapping his massive glaring red flags in beautiful designer packaging.
That is true. The packaging is nice.
If you date Chris, you wake up 3 years later in a gilded cage surrounded by Prada and Louis Vuitton, and you realize you haven't spoken to your own friends or family in months because he needs constant, suffocating validation to feel secure. He isolates you with gifts.
That is a strong argument regarding isolation, but I respectfully disagree. I think Jimmy P is infinitely worse, precisely because his toxicity is insidious and hidden. Chris is screaming his red flags from the rooftops. He literally told you who he was. If you fall for Chris, you have willfully ignored the giant warning labels printed on his forehead.
Very fair point.
Jimmy P plays the nice, goofy, harmless Uncle Jim card to completely disarm your defenses, and then pulls the rug out from under you when you are at your absolute most vulnerable. Betrayal from a nice guy causes far more psychological damage than bad behavior from an obvious villain.
Okay, that is a very valid point. The hidden trap is always deadlier. Let's shift gears and move to segment 2. Who would ghost you first?
This should be easy.
Out of this entire sprawling cast of characters who completely disappears after one semi-decent date in the real world, I am pointing my finger directly at Dave.
Really? You think Dave, the big friendly giant with the elephant fact?
Yes, absolutely. Because look at his actions. He kisses 4 different women in the span of 2 hours.
He is very active, yes.
Do you honestly think a man who operates with that level of chaotic, frenetic velocity is sitting down and texting you back on a quiet Tuesday afternoon? No. He is an elephant in the wild. He is constantly moving on to the next watering hole.
I see the logic in the velocity argument.
Be real. Dave is leaving you on read for 3 weeks while he gets another random neck tattoo and forgets your name.
Okay, but my choice is definitively Nick. Think about his introductory data points. He leads with his small crick joke, which shows a desperate, immature need to control the narrative through shock value.
He's the worst.
He aggressively pours beer down women's throats, which is pure frat house arrested development. And then, the deciding factor, he accidentally falls asleep playing FIFA on his console while a woman is waiting in his room.
I forgot about the FIFA.
If you go on a date with Nick, he doesn't maliciously ghost you. He ghosts you because he literally forgot you existed as a human being while trying to beat his high score in a video game.
You are so incredibly right. He ghosts you because he lost his phone in the couch cushions and lacked the executive function to find it. Okay, moving to segment 3. Soft girl delusion rankings.
My favorite segment.
We need to rank the most delusional romantic moments from these 5 episodes, scaling from mildly hopeful delusion to the absolute peak of babe stand-up. You are embarrassing yourself.
I will start at the bottom with mildly hopeful delusion. I rank Dave and Sophie bonding over the shared realization that they are both unserious walking red flags.
Oh, how cute, though.
It's delusional because they are both openly admitting they are terrible, unreliable partners, but it's mildly hopeful because at least they share the exact same terrible pathology. They understand each other's brokenness.
I genuinely love that for them. It's toxic, but it's matched toxicity. For the mid-tier delusion, I have to rank Jimmy S. looking deeply into Allison's eyes and calling her his bricks and soil.
Yes. That is peak mid-tier delusion. You are not a construction site. You are a complex human woman. Do not let a man romanticize you as masonry and basic building materials.
You are the grout holding the tiles of my life together, Allison. It is so bad. It's so unromantic.
It really is.
But the absolute peak, the ultimate undisputed babe stand-up moment of the entire season so far is Ally.
Oh, without a doubt.
Ally physically hiding to eavesdrop on Jimmy P and Cassie, visibly panicking as she watches them flirt, and then stepping out and squeaking out, "I love you," out of pure, unadulterated desperation.
It was painful.
Stand up. My soul literally left my physical body. The secondhand embarrassment was so heavy, so profound, that I needed to see a chiropractor the next morning to realign my spine.
It was the televised death of human dignity. She sacrificed all self-respect for a man who carries an EpiPen to a beach club. Which brings us perfectly to our final segment, tying it all back to your impending real-world doom, the speed dating survival test.
Oh no, here we go.
Since you are actually considering going to a speed dating event, we are going to role-play chaotic speed dating conversations right now, acting out the specific personas of the cast members we just watched, and we have to make them as awkward, messy, overly honest, and absolutely unhinged as humanly possible.
Oh my God, I am so ready for this. Give me your absolute worst. Destroy my hope.
I will play Nick. Imagine we are sitting across from each other at a tiny table. The buzzer rings. Ding! Hey! What's up? So, I know we only have 3 minutes here, but I'd just like to get this out of the way immediately so there are no surprises.
I am already dreading this.
I have an incredibly small Brock. Like, surprisingly medically small. But I'm charismatic, right? Look at my blue eyes. Don't look away. Also, do you have any beer in your purse? I really, really want to pour it directly down your throat right now while people watch.
Oh my God, no.
Security.
I need security. This man is an active threat to public safety. I am literally sliding off my chair and climbing under the table to escape. Pure, unadulterated disgust.
It works perfectly, right?
If a man ever said that to me in real life, I wouldn't just leave the date. I would legally change my name, move to a remote village, and join a silent convent that very night.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, my turn to inflict pain. I'm going to play Chris. The timer starts.
Ding! Hi! Wow, you are the most beautiful, incredible woman I have ever seen in my entire life. No, seriously, don't look away.
This is awful already.
I feel a profound soul-level connection with you that I haven't felt in at least 3 hours. Look, I need you to take this. It's a brand new $4,000 Louis Vuitton wallet. I bought it today. Just take it. Please put it in your bag.
Absolutely not.
Because if you don't take it right now, I'm going to start aggressively crying in public about the 48-year-old reality television star who took my virginity when I was a vulnerable teenager and absolutely shattered my heart. Please just hold the leather wallet so I feel temporarily worthy of human love.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to very slowly slide this heavy leather wallet back across the table toward you. I actually just remembered I need to use the restroom.
Don't leave me. The one located in the lobby. Actually, the one located outside the building down the street. Please do not follow me. Goodbye forever.
That is exactly how it would go. You see,
Right.
see why I'm spiraling. This is exactly why the very concept of speed dating is utterly terrifying. It's just this concentrated, high-speed collision of everyone's unhealed trauma.
It is not a romantic endeavor. It is an incubator for psychological damage. It is 30 mini interrogations of the human soul.
And with that overwhelming realization of trauma, we're going to start our weekend wind down. I need a drink. I am taking another massive sip of my Cutwater lemon drop. Wait, no, I'm looking at the can. I have the vodka mule.
You're losing it.
See? I'm so deeply unsettled by this conversation and these 5 hours of television that I literally forgot what beverage I was holding in my own hand.
It's the reality TV-induced brain fog settling in. It severely impairs cognitive function. But truly, we want to sincerely thank the Snark Squad for riding this wave with us, for being in the trenches with us through this absolute 5-hour Netflix marathon of poor decisions.
We truly, honestly could not survive unpacking this level of interpersonal mess without you listening and validating our shock. But we have to ask you, and I need you to sound off in the comments. I need you to type out your thesis statements.
Sound off, everyone.
Between the relentless love bombing, the deeply manipulative no-rules hall passes, and people kissing 3 different humans in a 1-hour window, has reality TV completely ruined the fabric of modern dating? Or is the television just a mirror reflecting how inherently messy and broken we already are as a society?
That is a deeply profound, slightly depressing question to leave you with for the weekend. But beyond just whether reality TV is a mirror or a hammer, consider the concept of the panopticon of dating.
Oh, big words.
Are we all now just constantly performing our relationships, even in private, because we have been so conditioned by reality TV and social media to view ourselves as characters being perceived by an audience? Are any of our romantic interactions actually genuine anymore, or are we all just self-producing our own lives?
That is so dark.
Make sure to subscribe to the show, leave a comment with your verdict on that existential dread, and please send in your absolute messiest personal dating disasters and speed dating horror stories. We desperately need to read them to know we aren't alone out here in the trenches.
Send them all, spare no details. And please, I am begging you, pray for me tomorrow evening. Honestly, I do not know if I will physically or emotionally survive pulling weeds at your mother's house. I might just lay face down in the damp mulch, close my eyes, and completely give up on society.
We will persevere through the agricultural labor. We have to. And hopefully the acoustic resonance of your sound bath will emotionally reset us afterward, realign our deeply damaged frequencies, and prepare our nervous systems for the next episode drop.
God, I hope so.
Because realistically, speaking from a place of clinical observation, one more Netflix dating show drop could send both of us permanently over the psychological edge.
I am already teetering on the absolute cliff. I'm looking down at the rocks. But until next time, stay delusional.
Stay messy.
And we will see you on the snark side.